Every major company today, I'm not talking about the companies that have been around for 30, 40, 50 years. I'm talking about companies that were started 10 to 20 years ago and have been able to scale to what they are today, like Uber, Amazon, Google, or Spotify. They all have one thing in common: a user journey that works for them. Okay, so what's a user journey? A user journey is all the different touch points you as a company have with your user. So we all are aware of exactly when users buy our product. But if you rewind a bit, when is the first time they even heard of you? When were they aware that you even exist? That's step one. And then you have a bunch of different processes before the purchase of the core product itself. So you have awareness, I know that you exist. And then there are a series of different touch points, like an ad campaign on Facebook, right? Or maybe I interact with your LinkedIn post, or I see an advertisement. Or, I talk about the product with my friends, I consider buying it, that sort of thing. These are all different interactions that the person has with your brand leading up to the purchase of your core product. So that's the user journey. What these companies have been able to achieve is not just mastering this user journey, but being able to create a habit. So once you reach the end, you're actually looped back to consume more of the product. It's like going on a date. The first date is given, but it's the excitement and anticipation that you create that leads to you having a second. We don't generally talk about user journeys, at least on a day-to-day basis, unless you're in a design team. That's because the more subtle it is, the more effective. I recently made a video about how marketing is generally considered an add-on, a separate process from the core product development. We think of it as some sort of magic dust sprinkled on top of the core product and not an integral part of it. Same way for user journeys, I'd go as far as to say the journey is in many cases the product itself. Take Uber. We take 3 times as many Uber rides as we used to take taxis. Why is that? It's not just a transportation company. It's not just a network of drivers and users. Uber is more than that. Uber has created a whole new experience. Within about 2 or 3 taps, you have the car coming, and you have this constant feedback in the app, so you can see where the vehicle is on a map. This was never done in the taxi industry. So it's actually more than just transportation. It's an experience in itself. I'm sure all of you have bought something on Amazon at some point in time, and you'll notice the website itself, the look and feel of it, hasn't changed for the past 5 to 10 years. And that's because we have gotten used to the way it looks and feels, and it's so convenient to buy something that even if they make a slight change, just moving a button here and there, increasing the text size of something, that's additional load for us to process. And it's going to come in the way of the convenience of one click itself. For those of you who have read Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, Amazon actually appeals to our system one brain. So we hardly do any processing on the site itself. It's really effortless. Same for Netflix and all these food delivery services. As a consumer, you keep looping around the user journey because it's so crisp. Now, understanding user journeys is crucial not just for websites and apps and online experiences, but even offline. Cafes and retail stores. Take Starbucks. They are aware that the coffee itself is not the main differentiator. You go to Dunkin' Donuts or Coffee Bean, coffee tastes relatively the same, right? What really sets them apart is the membership program. They have loyal customers that keep coming back because of the program. So you have micro commitments that you make, let's say topping up the card. That itself is an incentive for you to come back. And then they reward you, I think for every 50 or 60 stars you accumulate, you get free drinks, that sort of a thing. Retaining users, getting them to keep looping around the journey. Take WeWork. They removed all the friction along the journey of getting office space. For individuals who want just a 1-month commitment, try out a desk, or you're a startup, you're an organization, you want a whole floor to yourself, either way, with just a 1-month commitment, you can have that set up. As opposed to 10, 15 years ago, you'd have to commit yourself to at least a few months worth of rent lease to even start working. And look, it's not just about mastering your customer journey. You can also partner with companies from different sectors, different industries, like DBS. DBS Bank partner with utility companies. As soon as Singapore deregulated the energy ecosystem, a bunch of different companies sprung up to offer the same product. And DBS said, okay, why don't we let customers on our banking portal, why don't we let our customers sign up for these different services and we process the billing? So that's an example of how they use their customer journey to actually incorporate different services instead of their core offering, which is just banking. If you take the airline industry, I'm talking about the online ticketing, buying tickets to flights, I think something dangerous is happening in that space. Let me tell you what I mean. The only way you can browse flights seems to be sort by price. So what happens is you have really budget flights, right? Value for money, and you have the higher end first class and business class. And everything in the middle, good economy class, doesn't seem to have a place. So either you make your decision where you want the most value for money, you go for the lowest priced flight, budget flights, or you go on top of the spectrum, let's say your company is paying for it, you go for business class or first class. Everything in the middle has seemed lost its market. So it's going to be a race to the bottom if the interface continues to be primarily based on this sort by price mechanism. Also, not every product needs the widest reach. Take luxury products. Rolls-Royce and Maserati, car companies, you'd never see them host their vehicles in a car show. You'd find them in yacht shows or air shows. The reason being is, given the segment they're after, when you've seen a bunch of yachts and aircrafts for, I don't know, multi-millions of dollars, at the end you see a Rolls-Royce, which is a couple $100,000, it's an impulse buy. Because they fitted themselves along a different customer journey, the journey of buying an aircraft. And that seems to be much more effective than being the highest priced car in a car show. So look, you could be an online business, an offline one, a traditional one like retail stores, or you run a chain of cafes, or you run a combination of online and offline. Doesn't matter. You're going to have complete mastery over what your customer journey is, so that you're aware of the entire process from the time I know you exist to when I buy your product, so that you can attribute exactly what is the factor that's driving more sales, and you can double down on that. And look, today you have a bunch of courses online on UI UX or interactive design, bunch of formal courses, but I'd say the most effective way is to just be observant on a day-to-day basis. So you get a drink, ask yourself, what was the user journey here? All the way from knowing this brand exists to buying it, and then asking yourself, if you're a loyal user, why do you keep coming back? What are the different factors? Just keep processing this in your mind. Because the truth is, we are trained to have answers to everything as opposed to asking the right questions. So that's my message for you today. Take care.